All right, guys, I've got it dropped in there now. That molding is dropped in and looks pretty good. I've still got a couple of issues, and I'm going to show those to you for a second here. Again, I know I've said this a few times, and so these holes, I doubt very seriously that these holes are in the spot where they should be, like from the factory. I'm guessing that they were pretty close, but I've got, I think, 10 holes altogether. And those clips that I was bad talking a while ago, I may have to use a couple of them because I don't want to drill anymore. I don't want to drill this out and hack on this insert any. And I don't want to drill into the body anymore either, right here. And so I am probably going to use a couple of those clips because even with this flush here, you can see that's what I'm working with on these two holes, and only these two. So this one and this one here, those are really, really small. And those clips, though, they will pop down in there and keep that from moving around and so forth. And so I'm probably going to use a couple of those on that, and then the rest of them will get the stud clips. Now, yeah, I've heard guys, even some of the old Tri-5 guys, they swear by those clips. I've read about them, but man, I'm not a huge fan of those things and the way that they don't fit. Now mine is pretty dang flush right up here because I've worked with it so much, and so I don't think that those clips are going to be a bad thing just for these two holes, and then use the studs for the rest of them. I think that's going to work out fine. So anyway, the fan moldings fitting perfectly. The last thing that I wanted to talk about here is this molding here. Obviously, when these two come together, you've got an end here that you've got to make sure that these bad boys are going to line up. Okay, so you can see that, and you want the two of these to mate together and this to slide over it. Right? So that's what you're looking for. So before you start this process, make sure that you test fit these, because I tell you what, it is not fun to do on the car, and it's not fun to have to pull it off, to pull those moldings off to get them to fit. So make sure that's something that you do before mating the two on the vehicle. All right. I'm going to do a little bit more here, get this fan molding on there, get everything set up in place, put these clips on the top quarter molding, and I'll be back. All right, I've got these bolted up now. The door and the quarter coming together looks pretty good in my mind. Still got to do the front of the door, which will, I mean, that's pretty darn simple. It will come down and just bolt down. That's why I like these stud clips better. And I'm thinking that the high-end builders are probably using these things or something similar to it. I mean, a lot of them, I know, tack the studs some on the back of the moldings these days and things like that, but this is yeah, I've got a lot in this build. I'm really taking my time and doing things right, I'm hoping anyway. But it's not a Riddler car, that's for sure. But anyway, this molding went on really, really well. It looks good. I left this back. This back is still loose, so that I can slide the other molding in there. But for the most part, man, it's coming along really nice. And so I'm gonna slide this. I'm gonna get the studs put on the other molding, and look at those two holes that I spoke about a while ago and see if those are gonna work. Look at that. I mean, it's just picture perfect right now. And I'm not saying it doesn't take some some coaxing and some finagling, but you can see it's just it's really coming together nice. And I can't remember where I got these inserts. I think it was Dan Chuck, but I'll have to check. I ordered the ones that were just the fin itself, the piece that you could use, and I guess you could cut it out yourself, but I think that's been discontinued. I actually used it on my engine cover here. So you can see the Bel Air insert molding is there on the engine cover. The engine covers, this is all going to be painted to match the car. Obviously the blue tape, she's had to talk these engine covers into fitting. And so been working on that a little bit, but that insert is really cool stuff. I got a whole sheet of it that I should have used for the inserts. I should have just cut them out myself. It would have saved a significant amount of money. But I'm also going to do a piece running down this console. The console is going to go all the way back up between the back seats. I was saying a while ago that this car was originally black and it was a 150 car, and so I haven't done my research yet on the VIN and things like that, but I think that there's a chance, and it's probably a very, very slim chance, but this could have been an original Black Widow car, and if it were, I don't know why they would have done this in the first place. That 150 molding and the black paint obviously was what made the Black Widow and then I don't know if all of them came with no back seat or if that was just, I don't know a lot about them, but I'm going to do my research on that and see. It'd be cool if this was an old Black Widow. I can guarantee you if it were an old Black Widow car, it would be again someday. Maybe not in the next few years, but one day I would probably go back to that Black Widow style. I'd probably keep it a resto mod. I think a resto mod Black Widow would be cool. I've seen a couple of those. So, but anyway, back to the molding. I've got severe ADD. So this molding, I'm gonna put the clips on. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3 studs, and then I'm gonna try those 2 as the snap clips, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more of the studs back there, which seems excessive. Which, by the way, guys, I'm using the 3M the molding. Yeah, here's my parts pile over here, but this 3M molding that I'm using right here for putting around the nuts, so that you are supposed to keep this stuff in the freezer, because if it gets cold, if it gets warm, it's really nasty and gooey to work with. But I'm putting this on the back side of those nuts as much as I can anyway. As you know, a lot of those are hard to get to, but get a little bit of this and put it on the back side of the nut, so you don't have the moisture and the water getting through that hole in the back side of the moldings there. But anyway, I'm going to get back to putting those clips on, and I'll be back. Another tidbit of information here. One of the things you'll see a lot, guys say bend the arm out on the clip. Here's what they mean. Get that arm, bend it out just like that, and then it slides in to the molding. You got to, once you get that bent down, you've got to kind of coax it a little bit. But one of the other things to remember is that, okay, I've got this in my lap. The molding is going to, obviously it's going to come up, go onto the side of the car like this. What you want is that piece, because of the way that these screw in. Sorry about the shoddy work here on the videography. You want that spring to be at the bottom of the molding, so you want it to be pushing down. So here we bend it out, and then we put it in like this, coax it in there, and let it do its thing. You want that on the bottom, because when you go to put the nut on the back side of this way, so lefty loosey righty tighty, so you're going on this way, it's not trying to pull that molding or that clip out. I had that problem on the other side. I put the clip on the, you know, on the upside, on the top side of the up here versus down here, and some of them were trying to pop out, especially when they get to these grooves right here. You know, they pop out pretty easily. And you know, like I said, with this car being, God knows if it's, you know, OEM spots or not, probably not, but you know, with those little notches every so often, it makes it a little tricky. So anyway, just another tip. All right, guys, so I lied. These studs were a lot smaller than I thought they were. I've got one more to put in right there. There's a hole. I need to pull this back out, but these are not in. They're just sitting in there right now. And I've snapped, well, not snapped, but kind of sat that molding up there. Kind of an idiot for standing back here in case it falls. But you want to do that first. You want to put this molding on or get it into the body first before you start this process here, because this is going to have to go in and push forward. Well, as you can see, it just popped out. But it's pretty simple. Once you get, sorry, I'm moving this thing around like crazy. Once you get this right here, get it into where it's going to slide in together, you can move this, even with all the studs in place and all of them in their holes. You're able to push forward on this molding, and it will slide pretty easily. And so don't worry too much about that. And so that's what I'm going to do. These are trying to come out, but that insert really pushes out. It's not hard. It doesn't push out hard, but it definitely pushes out on the molding a little bit, and it's making it pop out down at the end. So anyway, I've got one more stud clip to put in one of these holes, and then I'm going to start securing. I didn't get a video of it, but I pulled the little red strips off of that backing tape, and so this insert molding is in place. It's not going anywhere. It's in place, and it looks pretty darn good, especially for a repop. I mean, these things are really sexy to me. I think it looks great. So anyway, that is just about it, guys. I'm gonna push this in here. If I had another set of hands with me right now, I could do both. I could you know, get that slit in there and show you me kind of put those studs in place and get them tightened down. But it's going to take a lot of stretching and on top of your head kind of work to get those all buttoned down. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to slide this in. It fits perfectly. I mean, these two pieces fit perfectly now. I got them. You have to kind of bend these. You can see the ends here. You got to kind of bend those out a little bit with a pair of needle nose or something, you know, to make them work and slide together. But after you do that, they fit pretty dang good and look pretty awesome. So anyway, I'm going to button those down, and I'll be back with the finished product.